Yeah, my friends. Turn it up, Sis. You might recognize that voice. He needs no introduction.
My goodness.
The one, the only, Anthony Cumia.
Well, thanks, guys. This is not too freaky. Wow, man.
This has got to be like going back home. Like, your parents, like, disowned you. They want, like, that's it. The full jazz singer. They tore the shirt off. They spit on the stairs. They said, I want nothing to do with you. And now here you're back sitting down to supper again at your old table.
It really is weird. Like I said, seeing the logo and the calls and everything like that and just remembering how much that meant to me back when I was here with Opie and we were out in, where the hell was that? Westboro?
Westboro, yeah. The Route 9 studios.
Yeah, Route 9 studios. And just, the battle with BCN and like all of that was of the utmost importance.
Yeah.
You really felt like I wore a jacket with AF on the back like I was a Hell's Angel. Like it was important to me.
Yeah.
And seeing it all, just bringing it right back. And, it was quite a few years ago. But, man, like I said, right back, full circle. Boy, that was a long circle.
Yeah.
That was a long circle.
A lot has happened.
I thought maybe that would have been the title of the new book instead of Permanently Suspended, but both fit.
Permanently Suspended, the new book, which I read in 24 hours. Quick question, though, as I'm looking at this. Why'd you get Bruce Springsteen to do the cover picture?
I know.
Doesn't that look like
it
Springsteen?
really does.
Looks like you're like, the next song is a song about the American worker.
Yeah.
1, 2. You're even doing the underbite thing.
I thought it was kind of awesome that you got Andy Garcia to do Anthony Cumia on the cover.
It is a kind of a Bruce
right.
Andy.
It is.
I'm going to do something about Jersey. Yeah, I'm going to really go off the page here and maybe sing a song about Wendy and Jersey. All right. Are you, Bruce? 1, 2, 3. We get it, Bruce. You love Jersey.
And we're broadcasting from a place that loves itself, itself.
Yeah.
Because the average masshole never leaves and is so in love with the area that look, I'm wearing a shirt that literally says everything's better in Boston.
Better. Me and Keith had some lunch over at the closest place to the studio over there at Lincoln's.
Lincoln's,
right across. Yeah, Lincoln's.
I've thrown up in that parking lot.
So we go in there, and there's a table full of locals.
Yeah.
And the entire time we were there, it was like a Mark Wahlberg movie. Just a heavy accent. And again, that brought me right back. But go tell your daughter to go. Yeah, we get it. We get it. Yeah, that was hysterical. I love that, the local flavor. But very cool. Very cool to be back here. I've popped back up into Boston a few times since they drove us to the Connecticut border and told us never to return.
Never.
Do you still have like connections here? People, anyone that you go out of your way to come see?
Yeah, Ben Sparks. Well, he's in New York now, but he knows everything about up here. His father owns a lot of clubs and everything, so he knows Boston and a few other friends and stuff. But when most of my friends were in radio, so. They never stay in one place.
They're killing it now.
Yeah.
Because radio is alive, man. This is where FM stands for fat money.
I saw Carrie, Mistress Carrie there in the lobby. And we had worked together back when I was at AF. So she was on, I think, the street team doing promotions.
Right.
And when we got fired, it was a great opportunity for her because she was able to move up. To on air, and she's done a great job and been here the whole time. There was John Osterland was Ozone
was so cool,
the midday guy who was just awesome.
He was
great
so
guy.
nice,
and I guess is he down in New Orleans or something?
Yeah, he does mornings. I think he's the one I told you, Nick. I got him Black Crowes tickets, and I took my at that point new fiance to the Black Crowes. Ozone sitting in front of me. He's like, "Hey, I never paid you, man." I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about it." He's like, "Here," and he hands me like a brick of weed.
Yeah,
and my
That's how you
fiance's
pay
like, "What are
people.
you doing?"
That's how you pay people in New Orleans.
I guess so.
Someone you need me to shoot for you? No, it's all right. I'm fine. Ozone, that's cool, buddy.
Here's some weed.
He was the best.
Yeah, it was. So I've known a lot of people from Boston, but again, they kind of move around, and we went to New York. After well, Mayor Menino, you might remember Mayor Menino here in Boston, and we had said that he died on an April Fool's as a joke, and that was pretty much the last time I was live on the air here in Boston.
That was it, right? Until right now.
Yeah, we've
That's
done
pretty incredible.
phoners and stuff.
Right, you've
but,
called into the show.
That was it, yeah. And he was none too happy. I believe that Opie and Anthony should be fired. No. They should absolutely be fired and never set foot in the city of Boston again.
Boston.
He didn't handle it with much grace.
I love the quarterback of the Patriots, Tom Bradley. He would get all the sports
Not a
figures
single one of them
wrong, and it was hilarious. And yeah, we had thought it would be kind of funny to talk about his early demise, and they threw us out. We got a gig in New York.
You describe in the book, the new book, Permanently Suspended, by the way, available anywhere fine books are sold. You described that moment, and I loved how you described it, because you had a plan to make the bit so outrageous that after you made the initial announcement, you're going to say, oh, he was in a clown car, or whatever you're going to say.
Right.
And then people would catch the fact that it was a gag, but you never got to get there because your former PD came in and freaked out, right?
That was the whole thing. Like, it was a long-form April Fool's joke.
Right.
And it was supposed to start out where people go, oh, my God, that's terrible. And then progressively, the story would get even worse. Like, I don't know what he had a young boy from Taiwan in the car with him, and that was mysterious. And, like, it just was supposed to get more ridiculous. But then after we said he died in a car crash, and management came in and goes, all right, you got to stop this. It's like, no, if we stop it now, people are going to think.
Never got to execute
that it happened.
Yeah,
right.
they're going to think it happened. And we started seeing it toward the end of the show on the news crawl, a radio station prank. And that's when Opie looked over and just goes, oh, we're done.
Dead. And that's the worst part, is that you didn't get to execute the funny gag,
Right.
so it just seems like a dumb thing that you said. You know what I mean? It's like,
We interrupt this program. I'm Jack Williams. And I'm Liz Walker. Channel 4 News. Apparently, Mayor Menino has been struck dead by lightning with a young Thai boy in the car.
Yeah.
But you can't do that. But that's the thing, is you got away with so much more pushing the boundaries of FM. And this sort of goes back to and me just making fun of radio a few minutes ago. The idea that you used to be able to be like a rock star on radio.
Yep.
But now, from the fact that there's not enough new rock music to even fill an afternoon show, let alone you can't be a rock star. We friggin' celebrate YouTubers and chefs now more than we do actual bands and friggin' DJs who play the bands.
True.
You can't also just have that kind of fun anymore. You have to either go to Sirius or satellite. In that case, you're like, oh, those are the outlaws. Or you come here, and then if you try to get away with any of that stuff, shame on you. You're fired, and that's the end of it.
You're fired. I was talking earlier about the FCC was the big enemy of radio. Like, you would have to work your way around the rules and regulations of the Federal Communications Commission, the government. And that was the only thing you worried about.
Right.
Anything else, as long as you didn't say the words that you weren't supposed to, and really talk about content at length of bodily functions and sexual things. I think that was all they cared about. Now, the FCC would be nostalgic and cute to have come after you. Yeah. Oh, a fine? Aw, here you go. And the problem's over. Now it's Twitter. It's these advocates and activists and just bull that means nothing, but it now costs you your entire career. You're done if you.
What kind of weird reality have we created where someone, it's no longer a government organization, but some bitter guy or gal in their house with a phone in their hand can have way worse impact in your career than that agency could?
We always thought years ago that it would be a government agency, an entity. In the future, if you told someone 2018, they'd be like, oh, there's got to be floating government orbs that watch what you do and report it back. And because it's Big Brother, 1984 kind of stuff.
Right.
And then you realize, oh, my God, Wade, it's us. They figured out a way to make it us ratting ourselves out.
God, you're right.
So we end up being the Big Brother and ratting each other out. The first thing someone does when someone's pulling something that could possibly get them in trouble is pull their phone out and start recording it.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, look, and then now I'm going to post it, and you will be exiled from life. and that's exactly what's going on. We are a bunch of rats.
Yeah, we are.
We're just ratting each
and
other out.
Everyone's offended and all the feigned indignation. Oh, cool.
I'm not nearly afraid, and it doesn't matter which side of the party lines you vote on, I'm not nearly as afraid of the government as I am my fellow man who thinks that they're doing either their moral, their holy high duty, or performing a civic duty by reporting a potentially offensive post or not understanding. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Put hashtag joke or hashtag sarcasm after every single effing thing that you say just to make that point or to clear yourself?
No one understands sarcasm, parody, things like that. When you say something live on the air, especially a comedy show,
Right.
they read it in a transcript as if it was spoken by a doctor or a lawyer or politician. And it's like, no, don't you understand? I'm purposely being outrageous.
Right.
I'm saying something so offensive because that's part of comedy. It always has been. But you get these people that read it as if it's gospel,
Right.
and now you're held accountable for a joke.
Yep.
And it's definitely affecting comedy. I know a lot of comedians. My whole career has been interviewing and talking with comedians. A lot of them are scared to death that they're going to say something, and it curtails their creativity.
No doubt.
We're live right now with Megyn Kelly's defense attorney, Anthony Cumia, here on 107.3 WAAF.
All right. If you have any questions for Mr. Cumia, attorney at law, 97107 is the text line. You can call us on the Framingham Ford studio line with your questions, 617-764-WAAF. We'll talk about the future, the past, maybe a little open. We'll get to everything. Matty and Nick with Anthony Cumia. Also joining us, Boston's best comedian, Will Noonan, voted so by Improper Bostonian, correct?
That's right.
I'd hate to derail things here, but Anthony and I were just talking with Nick. Anthony and I were talking, and a news bulletin flashed across our computer. So let's do this breaking news here. We've got to do some news. We go now to the news center with Anthony Cumia. Anthony, what have you have?
This just in, we're very sad to report that Mayor Thomas Menino is still dead.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Tragic. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers.
Lots of prayers. T's and P's. Welcome, Will. Welcome to the show.
Great to be here. Thanks for having
You
me.
do Anthony's show in New York.
We just had Will on a few days ago.
I was on.
Did you just come from an Abercrombie and Fitch shoot or something?
Yeah, I think you did.
Am I looking that way?
Yeah, a little bit.
This is a Walmart special
Get out!
that I bought maybe 20 minutes before one of my shows. I was like, the wrinkle line had been crossed.
Yeah.
We all know where that line is. It's different for all of us.
Right. There's a fine line between looking like he didn't try too hard and just like, that guy's homeless.
Yeah.
He's looking so fresh and youthful.
Yeah.
Get right up on that.
I know.
Will.
I
There you
can't
go.
even hear myself.
Get
I just
up
want
on
to
that.
steal a
Get
little
up
bit of
on
your
Mike
soul.
looks brand new though. So
Let's
for
hit.
the-
There's
for the
so many
listener at
questions for you, Anthony.
Really?
Can we take some? Well, you know
Of
what?
course.
Let's address the elephant in the room.
Oh, boy.
Everybody's going to want to ask about, and the text line's asking about. So, where do things stand with Opie?
Myself and Opie, we did radio for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know who you could be in a relationship with in any capacity for 20 years without having issues. And boy, did we chalk up some issues. Because when I got fired in, I believe it was July of 2014 from Sirius XM Radio, Opie stayed on board there. And from there, it just got worse and worse. We
Right.
haven't face-to-face spoken. We did a couple of phone things between his show and my show
Right.
that were good-natured but a little uncomfortable and awkward.
Yeah.
And for the past couple of years, we have not spoken directly. We have trashed each other on our respective programs, which probably would upset a few people that were big fans of the show. But, like I said, 20 years of being around somebody every day of the week, it gets a little much.
What'd
Yeah.
you do? What'd you do to get fired? Did you steal some office supplies? Did you break that goddamn Keurig machine again?
No, it was tweets, Twitter. Yeah.
I find it very, not to get too into it because I'm an outsider, I have no idea, but I find it very revealing the types of guys who stood behind you and call you friend. And,
Yeah.
And that tells me a lot about the situation, if that makes sense. I don't
Yeah.
want to hammer
Why are
him,
you
but
looking at me
No,
right
no,
now?
I know.
Why are you staring at me?
Because you look so damn good.
yeah, you do.
I just want to live in a world of Gap now.
you had an
son of a
iron.
When the
bitch.
New Yorkers come to town, I like to spaz myself up. a
Anthony,
little
any
bit.
advice you could give Nick and I to
Oh,
make
my
sure that
God.
something like that doesn't happen to us?
Spend as little time together as possible off the air.
We do.
Just do the show, leave, have your respective lives, and that's pretty much that's a very important thing. And understand that that's going to be the relationship. I think Opie was under a misconception, and I'm not going to come here on this, our station that we kind of built the Opie O&A show on and trash him. That's what my show's for. But I think he had this misconception that we were always supposed to be these really tight friends. And when we were at AAF, we were close. Like every day we'd go out to eat and talk about what we were going to do on the show. I'm very excited and everything. And then over 20 years, you start getting different lives, and there are resentments in there because of your personal life, and that happens. So I think it's important to separate the personal life from the business life, even if you are friends, especially at the beginning like we were, and understand things change. Because I would get calls like, dude, you didn't call me and stuff, and I'm like, that's girl stuff.
Yeah.
That's what a girl will say. Yeah. And I'll treat you the same way. Goodbye. Just like I treated my Boston wife, Jennifer. If anybody's wondering what happened to her. Ooh,
I would recommend, if for nothing else.
And Judy, her mother-in-law. I need Grandma Ye, Anthony. We're driving to Logan Airport, but I don't make left-hand turns. I make 3 rights because that's the left. All right, Judy. Please don't drink the Gramenye while you're driving.
I love Judy.
Judy was awesome.
Judy,
she's dead too.
Isn't that's where I remember as an early listener? That's where you like. Then she used to always ask you like, you have to come in. The tub's leaking. You have to come in and put the caulk in.
The caulk. I need someone to caulk my tub. It's leaking, Anthony. So I would drive up on Christmas vacation. And she would always have something for me. I picked up a garage door opener from Sears. Could you install it? Yeah, it's my dream, Judy, to install your garage. And then if you could go get some caulk. Yes, Judy, I'll caulk your tub.
If you want to talk to Anthony, Framingham Ford studio lines open, 617-764-WAAF. Let's go to Jeff, who's been holding. Go ahead, Jeff. You're on with Matty, Nick, Anthony, and Will Noonan.
How are you?
Good, buddy.
I remember that 4th of July. I remember that whole Menino thing like it was yesterday.
April Fools, yeah, that was the chain of events and knowing we were fired. And I was in construction before I got into radio. So after that, we were here for about 3 years, and I thought, oh my God, I'm back in the attic. We screwed up.
That's the worst.
I'm going back to work. That's what I thought.
Incredible.
Remember O&A? That was me.
Yeah. I remember you said it was a plane crash.
No, I think it was a car wreck.
I think car.
And he remembers it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
It was lightning.
Yeah.
Wasn't it lightning struck? The car.
I think this guy knows better than Anthony. I'm just saying.
It was a plane crash, and Buddy Holly was in the plane, too.
Yeah. The big bopper.
Oh, baby, that's what I like.
He just Chris Farley'd you.
Yeah.
You have a question for Anthony? I remember.
The crazy thing is, Jeff has been sitting in the same armchair for 19 years. Like, when I get a chance to ask him this question, hold on. Quiet, Diane. Diane's dead, by the way.
Hudson River.
I'm going to ask him. I'm going to get it right.
One day he'll be back.
He is. And I will soil myself in this chair. I will sit in a tanket of my own feces until Anthony's back on half.
Let me rephrase. If you have a question for Anthony, not that you just remember one of his bits,
funny.
give us a buzz. Just kidding, Jeff. We're just balling.
That's great.
What is your?
Now, why did you apologize to Jeff? You just FM radioed us.
That's a good point.
We're
No
sorry,
apologies.
Jeff. Please don't be outraged and get us fired.
Can we get the lawyer in here? Anthony, what's your, like, when I look back on things in my past, there's always like one thing that leads off my memories. Your years here in Boston, what's the one thing that you go back to and you're like, that was great, or that's when I knew we made it, or something like a great memory you have of this area?
Oh, yeah, we had put out a couple of CDs. Those are what songs and things are on, kids. It was like this futuristic-looking shiny disc, like Star Trek. We put out a couple of those, and the first one we did, which was Demented World, we had a signing at one of the malls here around, I think it might have been Natick or something. And we walked in, and there was a line of people, like this huge line. And we're walking up to go to the store that we have the signing. And literally, we just looked at each other, and seriously, we were like, who else is here? Like, who else is signing something? We're trying to think maybe it's a sports figure or something like that. We couldn't possibly imagine that it was for us. And it was. We got to the store, and people started cheering, and we walked in, and that's when we kind of went, oh, man, I guess people do listen when we yap into the microphones.
You also talk in the book. The book is permanently suspended, by the way, available now. There's this really inspiring moment where you talk about getting the big deal, and your lawyer, or your agent rather, just naming out these prices, these salaries. Like, tell me about that and how. I mean,
it was perfect timing, is what it was. We were in New York. We were coming up on our contract, and Howard Stern was doing mornings at K-Rock.
Yeah.
We were doing afternoons at NEW, both owned by the same company. So we knew they were never going to put us against Howard. We're the same company.
Right.
Howard mornings, us afternoons. We shared a pretty big part of the audience. So Clear Channel, who was also a different radio company, decided they wanted to offer us the morning slot. Now, Howard, huge. There's no denying how huge Howard Stern is, and especially at that time over at K-Rock in New York. So they offered us mornings. Now, regardless if we beat Howard or not, we didn't have to. All we needed to do was take enough listeners away from him to not make him number one anymore, and they would lose millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
So their idea was, well, pay them anything to keep them from going to mornings against Howard.
Right.
And they did. So I'm in a hotel room, myself and Opie, and our agent, the late Bob Eatman. He's driving somewhere with Menino now.
He died in a car crash with a Taiwanese boy.
I met Eatman once years ago in Philadelphia. He was like the baby doll Dixon of radio.
Yeah,
he was a great guy.
He's a great guy. Looked like Nosferatu.
He did.
But
He did. He skulked only in shadows in silent films.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're in there, and Eatman's on the phone, respectively, with a Clear Channel and with CBS Radio, who owned the station we were at, and making the deal. And the numbers that were going back and forth were the word millions were coming in. And me and Opie are staring at each other going, this is nuts. This was only a few years after we left AAF, and we were being set up now to make giant amounts of cash on a huge rock station in New York City. And it was my second job.
Yeah, every show. I was a P1. I was living in New York, broke ass, whatever the hell I was trying to do with myself. And I would listen every afternoon. And I remember Opie used to end every show saying, like, syndication now. You guys,
right.
Syndication now. And you could feel the surge. You could feel it went from just like, oh, I was listening to these guys in the afternoon, whatever, to like it was something people were talking about. People heard the bits. People knew the Tom Brokaw impersonation. People knew the Boston accent. And then when it finally happened and you guys had millions, it felt like it made everyone who was listening and people like me who wanted to get into radio thereafter, and now look at me now, it made you look like a sad Mel Gibson. It made us all
Gibson, yeah?
it made
Mel
like
Gibson, we think?
sad Gibson.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, like a broken Kennedy.
Yeah, there you go.
Guy not so smiling.
Harpo Kennedy.
Exactly. It made us all feel like we were part of something.
Yeah, because I mean, we were always really interactive with the audience,
Yes.
and
Hugely
never took them for granted. I worked for a living most of my life. By that point, a lot more than I was doing radio, so I never took it for granted, and said like, oh, this is, I was always remembering that attic and those job sites that just sucked. So I never took it for granted. It never changed me. It just made it a lot more comfortable. It was nice to be able to pay my bills.
Oh, hell yeah.
and get things.
I was going to ask that. Did you manage your money okay? I mean, I know you've
Yes.
got a beautiful house and everything.
You know what it was? And it's funny. It shows how naive I was about everything. When we were working at NEW that first year, we were making pretty good money.
Yeah.
But it was nowhere near what the next contract would be. So we still had our checks that were in our little mail cubbies at NEW. So we'd get them, open it up. I'd go to the bank, cash it, deposit, whatever, have some money for my pocket. When these giant deals came in, Bob Eatman, my agent, is like, okay, here's your finance guy now. The money's going to be directed into a PNC bank account, and then you have your Bank of America account. And I'm like, wait, what? I wanted a check
Yeah.
Right.
every week to go to the bank and cash and crumble up the money and put it in my pocket.
Right.
And he's like, "No, idiot. You don't. It doesn't work that way."
You want to do the NFL wide receiver
Right.
thing.
I
right?
wanted hundreds of thousands a week in my pocket.
And then you can go home,
to go to the deli.
You're right.
Buy cars for your buddies.
Buy sneakers, get your mama a house,
Exactly.
smoke some weed,
Yeah.
get
Hook
good
up
at
your
Xbox.
bus.
He's like, "No, you dummy." So he set me up with a great finance guy that I'm still with today that has invested for me. Very safe, but long-term great investment. So thank God I didn't have to worry about that.
All right, we have every line is booked. If you want to talk to Anthony, call 617-764-WAAF. I want to get fans to be able to talk to you.
Cool.
So we got to take care of some business, pay some bills. You can also text Anthony your questions 97107. Will just keep the microphone off.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just
I
here.
love
I'm
Will.
here in case Anthony has a stroke or something.
It's a pretty good chance of that.
Never
know.
According to the book. Pretty good chance of that. We have Anthony Cumia in studio along with comedian Will Noonan. If you would like to get more Anthony. Ooh, that was creepy.
Yeah.
As many women in Long Island experience.
I'd like to get more Anthony.
CompoundMedia.com. AF fans use the code COMPOUND20 for 20% off of your subscription. How cool. And the book is permanently suspended. Available now. Is it available now?
The 20th, but for
20th.
pre-order at Amazon.com,
Perfect.
BarnesandNoble.com.
It's a great read. I read it in 24 hours.
CompoundMedia.com.
I want to move forward with the future, Anthony.
Yes, the
And,
future.
But before we do, we just asked you about the Opie thing. And on the Framingham Ford studio line right now is Opie.
Oh.
Let's go.
Wow.
Opie?
Hey, wine in the hot tub or whatever you say. I don't care. You stole my job.
Hello, Opie.
Hey, I'm so happy Anthony got his book out. That way he could put people to sleep quicker than when he was on the radio.
How dare you? How dare you?
My
Greg Hughes,
God,
how dare
Opie.
you?
Have
Okay,
some
and
decorum.
on all honesty, I'll share my love. I haven't seen a bigger hack than a handsaw at a Carrot Top performance.
Don't know what
I
that
think
means.
he's bitter.
I think
I thought, we were pretty much hands off at this point, but
Well,
if you
life
want to go,
things to turn bitter.
you want to go, brah.
Well done. Is that all you got, Opie?
Yeah.
No, I got plenty more.
okay.
What do you
She's
Oh,
her next tell.
Apparently, you also have a T-Mobile phone.
Oh.
so
Obama phone.
Westwood One isn't paying the phone. I guess.
It's the
how did he ever get the nickname Opie, by the way?
From years and years and years ago, he looked like little Opie from Mayberry.
That just
So they
straight
called
up
him
off the
Opie,
show. Okay.
and he decided to just keep using it. And it's fine up until, I guess, 28. After 28, you
Yeah.
should really even the real Opie, Ron Howard, stopped calling himself Opie.
oh,
It's almost being like 46 and being called Matty.
Matt.
And I was
Matty.
yeah, but it fits for you.
The
Like you're not a
parallels.
Matthew, not a Matt.
Well, Will just goes, you look like Opie. And
You do
Anthony's
look
like,
like-
ugh.
I was like, oh, wait a minute. No, every radio duo has the Opie and Anthony look. I don't know what that is.
They're all-
Well, we're all trying to imitate the best,
Oh,
man.
jeez.
The beard is
That's
a
it.
must in radio, like the
Yeah, these
Matty.
days.
Well, I'm just
Opie
trying to
beard.
hide my weak chin. That's why.
Is that it?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
have
good.
no
That was the best thing to have an Irish guy.
Why don't you want some? I got enough chin for the two of us over here,
That's
guy.
true, yeah.
You kidding
Just
me?
a striking, handsome chin.
Donnie
That's a
Dimple
lot of
over
chin,
there.
a lot of chin over here.
More chin than a Chinese phone book. Over
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
my God.
hold on one
Hey,
second.
hey,
Let me contact the tower if I'm going to land another joke like
hey,
that.
Obster.
Where can people get that kind of humor this weekend?
They can get that at Nick's Comedy Stop there tonight and tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Are you going to be at Nick's, really?
I'm there tonight.
Oh,
I'm
sweet.
going
Well, you
straight
think he's
from
going
here
to come in
there.
altruistically just to hang out with us? Like, there's not a plug in sight?
Just to see Cumia's return
Right.
to AAF.
If you-
I'm actually going straight there, and I actually feel like that's kind of Opie and Anthony-esque. You know, they used to come rolling into the studio after partying all night.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to come rolling in Nick's Comedy Stop after hanging here, drinking coffee.
That was the
Mixing it up.
the studio over at NEW was just debauchery, and stuff is coming out about CBS Radio and a lot of the executives getting sued and for sexual harassment and all kinds of stuff. And I read the stories and I'm like, oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yep.
I'd be-
Sex on the desks and drinking. And,
I'd be disappointed, though, if I heard about, like, the heyday of O&A at NEW, and it wasn't sort of like your own broadcast version of, like, Motley Crue's.
Yeah.
Was that The Dirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was there were girls coming up on a daily basis because we had the of course you had to have the best boobs contest. It was the 90s. It was the law.
Oh, there would be a protest from Brighton to downtown.
Exactly.
If we did anything resembling that.
So
now.
every day, girls would come up, get in front of a banner, and take their shirt off. And Rick Delgado, who was our producer at the time, would snap pictures of them. Every day, a parade. And we would just pick and go, all right, who's taking her to the bathroom while we put on a long song? That's exactly what used to happen.
Iron Butterfly. That's the third time this week.
The live version of Green Grass and High Tides Forever? And we don't even play Southern rock.
But like every day it was like somebody savaging Voss, or like there was the time like you had like guys come in the studio that loved to have like women in high heels like kick them in the nuts and like step on the scrot, and you guys were just like boozing and loving every second of it.
Yeah, smoking, drinking, the nudity with the girls and everything, and then some of the weird stuff, the comics that were being there, Patrice O'Neill and Rich Voss, and just great guys.
Mercurio, put your goddamn clothes on, Kathleen.
Do you think if Jim Norton hadn't worked there, like he wouldn't have become the man he is today? Maybe that was the petri dish that allowed him to.
That's a good word to use when you're talking about Jim Norton. Petri dish. No, I think he would admit to that it gave him a great platform to show people how funny he is. We are great friends still. Me and Jimmy work together. I do his damn Chip Chipperson show every so often.
He did the foreword for the book, right?
Yeah, Jimmy did the foreword for my book, and he knows me probably. I would put it in order: my brother, and then Jim Norton. That's how people know me, and it's fantastic. Me and him,
you guys have
really
a brotherly kind of like when you guys are doing comedy together. It has that vibe. Like
there was always nothing better than just watching that guy just laugh his ass off for something you said. So it was very cool.
videos of Jimmy makes Ant laugh or Ant makes Jimmy laugh on YouTube is so good.
And I think that spurred a little resentment with Opie, because as time went on, it was more me and Jimmy doing the comedy and the entertaining stuff, and Opie was the logistics guy that had to put the brakes on it because, we had to go to a break or something. And I understand that, but I think it started getting to him that most of the fans were like, oh, my God, Anthony and Jimmy today doing this.
Jamming,
And then Opie would be the one to go, all right, guys, well, we got to. So they're like, oh, why'd you stop that? Because they don't understand the logistics of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
He felt like the fun police by having to play the part of the driver.
He was the fun police, right. The fun police, da-da-da. So I think a lot of resentment built up for that. So just a lot of things.
Little things like 4 hours a day, though, that'll build and build and
build.
Do
they build?
I love speaking of Jimmy, the intro in the book, he talks about your comedy and how you keep everything in a bin and nothing's off limits. Listen to this, Nick. I love this. And this is what we need more of. This is what we always talk about with comedy now. All things in that bin are truly created equal. Nothing is allowed to be removed. Nothing can claim offense. And there is no immunity. Murder and cancer live side by side with aluminum siding. Dancing with the Stars, Crib Death, Rocky Dennis, and modern jazz. Most importantly, that bin also contains his own divorce, deep insecurities, and the death of his father. Nothing is off limits. Yes! Testify, brother.
Yeah. Jimmy, and that's why I say Jimmy knows me so well. And I do believe every single thing, because people ask me all the time, do you have a line? Do you have a limit? Is there something you would never talk about? And the answer is no. There is always an opportunity to make something funny, whether it's funny because it's so uncomfortable. And I don't know where that went, why people don't realize that that's been a part of comedy forever. Something is really uncomfortable. You're laughing your ass off.
Absolutely.
Why? I don't know. Yeah. But it's just the way it is. And that has been taken like, you can't joke about that. No, you can. And we do.
I think the most offensive words in the English language are actually too soon.
Too soon?
Or I'm
Too
offended.
soon?
Like, who cares? Get over
triggered.
yourself. Get over
Triggered.
Triggered. Yeah.
Triggered.
Who cares? Get over yourself.
Triggered.
Yeah,
Well,
that
go
triggered me.
Go to your beanbag room at your non-gender college.
I have a new thing now on the text line when we mention a word, just a word that could be an offensive word. And I just say, it's my new thing. I go sell it somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
going to work here. Your
Yeah.
offense isn't going to work here.
Yeah,
Go
people
sell
are
crazy
addicted.
somewhere else. We're
They're
all full of-
addicted to offense.
Yes.
They're addicted to being offended. They love showing other people how offensive you are. You got
Yeah.
a person that never would have seen what you said or did or heard it or anything, read it, and then another person has to go, look at this.
Yeah.
Now, isn't the onus on that person
Yes.
for offending the other
Right.
person, not me?
Right.
But they'd love to show people. Now, be outraged with me about this guy, and hopefully we could get him thrown off the planet.
Well, this is an awesome conversation. Very funny. Let's stop it and go to break.
Thanks, Ope.
Brought to you by the all-new 3-row 2019 Subaru Ascent, featuring all-wheel drive. I hate myself. Someone kill me. Love is now bigger than ever this fall. Ugh.
Yeah, that's right. You'll more with Gropey and Manthony.